Hello and welcome to Almost 30.
Hi guys, welcome to Almost 30 Podcast. My name is Krista Williams.
And I'm Lindsay Simpson.
And I'm so glad you're here. You don't need to be any age to listen. So let's just get that out of the way here. You can be whoever you are, wherever you are. We've been around for like 8 years now. We've been doing this thing. We've gone through a lot of evolutions and changes. We've had many an experience, and we're so grateful to have you as part of our lives and community. Our community is what really makes Almost 30 different, and we love you all so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you. Thanks for being here. If you're on YouTube, hi, hello. You can see us in the flesh. So many evolutions of Almost 30, including our fashion.
I know, girl.
When I come on these trips now,
I wouldn't even say this is my best look yet.
No, but I love it because it's like comfy, cozy, and also chic. But when I come on these trips to LA or we're in New York and we kind of know that we're going to be recording, we always have like the intention. I feel like you've been really good lately because you're on your fashion kick. I'm always like, who am I? Like, who am I in clothing form? Who am I today? And it rarely ever makes sense, but
I know. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about this podcaster that we know. And I was thinking about her because I think she's only wearing black shirts now. And I was like, should we start to only wear the
or like
same?
a little uniform? I think we're thinking about the same person.
Yes.
Yeah. But she's doing a little uniform.
And I love it.
And it's expensive as shit, and I love it.
I love it.
It's like all like designer, simple uniform.
I think we should do that.
Okay.
Less distractions.
Okay.
Because honestly, the journey of the clothes, like last time I was in New York, I was wearing like a denim set and then one day like a low back red sleeve. It's just too many different things. Like you wouldn't understand. Like if you tuned into one episode, you wouldn't catch the thread of the other.
Totally.
There's just too many different styles that are happening.
Yep. Completely
So
agree.
I think it's time for a good uniform.
I love her because like she's totally is a stylist and she's found what works.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
I want to do that too.
Nice. I was like, can we hire a stylist? Can we?
I think we could find ourselves one good basic outfit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I know you want a stylist, girl. You need to get stylist.
I 100% want a stylist. I mean, how nice would that be on a regular basis?
Too much money.
Sure. Oh, I'm just saying if money wasn't a thing.
All the stylists I know, I'm like, I don't like your style.
Well, I would want someone who was like working with me to like help me understand. It wouldn't be their style. It would be my style.
Yeah. To like find the things.
Yeah. If money wasn't a thing.
We worked with a stylist once. I worked with someone for my wedding and that was actually really helpful.
That's fun.
It was
like
really
for certain
good.
events,
yes,
things like that.
Have like a mood board for like what's the look and like especially for that when you need like multiple looks. That was actually really good.
I'm just not on the pulse of like some like cool like new fashion expressions or brands.
Yes.
So it would be nice to have someone who's like in that bringing it to me so I can choose, try on, whatever.
They're staying in their expertise and then we're staying in our expertise.
Yeah.
I think my number one thing is I would love a chef.
Oh, Sean and I talk about that all the time.
I would love a chef.
100%.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I actually, in my fantasy, when I do my visualization of my dream day, I wake up in my silk PJ set, look at the ocean, slide into my kitchen, and I wave to my chef silently because we know what it is. Too early to talk.
Yeah, no talkie.
But they've got what it's going. They've got their things ready. They've got the lemon water and the juice and the thing for me, and I just grab it from them. We do a dap, and I just go cruise into my little wellness guest house that's like got my gym. My husband's already working out. He's been up for like an hour. We trade off. I go to the trainer. It's all good.
Yeah, it's. We went on vacation recently and had a chef, and we were like, how do we make this a thing?
Honestly,
on a regular basis.
I think it's actually more accessible than people think. I think, who was I talking to? One of my clients, actually, she's having a baby and they're going to get a chef. And she's like, they'll come twice a week and cook for like 3 days.
Yeah.
So, but it's,
I'm obsessed.
It was like actually more affordable because it's really just paying for the time that they're there, having them get grocery shop, like whatever. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah. I'm into it.
I know.
I'm so into it.
Especially with a baby, having everything pureed and having everything set, like.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I honestly don't know the last time I cooked for myself. It's actually kind of sad. Olivia, I talked to Olivia the other day. She's like, when was the last time you nourished yourself? I'm like, shut up.
But in your defense, you do have access to
The best.
an Erewhon, different restaurants that are very, places that just have like pretty clean, great food.
Yes.
In New York,
100%.
it's a little harder. So I do cook a lot because I'm like, I want to know what's going in my food.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially with the baby.
Yeah.
When you're home, it's like,
Yeah, for sure.
But I do, it's when you get the plastic and even when I get my Goop kitchen and it comes in that plastic, I'm like,
I transfer it right away.
Same. There's something off about it because that plastic can leach into the food. It can be absorbed in the food. So whenever you can find places that have the paper, it is so much better than having the plastic. Because think about how many utensils and stuff
and when the food's warm in the plastic.
Oh, girl.
Yeah, I know.
It's leaching right in there. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
Yeah. Anyway, catch us with a personal chef in 5 years. That'll be
Yes. I was also talking to Lindsay. So in this episode, we're going to be going into protein with Angelo from Kion, which I love, Kion Aminos.
Yeah, they're the best.
But one of my favorite sources of protein I've been just obsessed with lately is Brahmi lupini beans. I was telling you, I was DMing them with them just a second ago. They were like, hey, we know you're a big fan. I messaged them. I was like, you're my best friend. I like to be weird to brands.
Totally.
I had another hat brand that sent me a free hat and I just keep DMing them like a weirdo because it makes me laugh. But Brahmi lupini beans are so good. They're really good chilled. They're really good not chilled. I throw them in my bag and they have 20 grams of protein for the entire bag. I think 150 calories, no sugar, and they're so delicious. And I love finding ways like that where I can easily get in my protein on the go. And it's such a unique source.
And they're different flavors.
Yeah, you could do the spicy
really
one. I like the salt and vinegar, their chili lime.
Put them on a salad, have it as a little thing you grab before dinner. You can even put them out for guests. Sometimes I'll just have a bowl. So good.
Kind of
so
gross
They're
with
great
everyone's fingers in there.
I don't care. They're great for kids too, not for the babes, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that
really
would be
great
amazing for kids. That would be amazing for kids.
A little chomp chomp.
I had a friend that was feeding her kid something from a little pouch packet, and the pouch packet had lead in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of. It's wild. You got to be freaking warrior parents out there.
You do have to be. Now it's fighting everything off. It's more important what you say no to than what you say yes to be honest.
There was one thing the other day that there's lead on bottles because the paint that they paint them with for the measurements has lead in it in some of them. I'm like, why? Why do they? I don't understand why they have lead in them.
I know. There's a lot of they'll have California CSC code. Need to be careful that this building has lead paint on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot. But I've also realized last thing is that stuff is serious. I think lead's very serious. But there are just some things I've had to just relax about.
Yeah.
Because you could drive yourself crazy and stress yourself out more and probably send that stress to your child. And then it's just a whole it's a whole scene.
Yeah.
So I kind of pick and choose and just intuitively navigate what's important, what I can chill on.
I think people, as a mother, that's so normal. And then I think when people start to get into the health and wellness space and kind of see all the things with the body, it's okay, I should get my gut tested. I should get my candida tested. I should, do blood panel. I should test my heart. There's so much, it's endless. And then also in spirituality. If you're oh, wait, there's levels of spirituality and then there's the Akashic records and then there's, the underworld and then there's dark magic, it's there's just, it never ends.
Never
and you
ends.
can just, I just stay one, I just kind of look and peer in different realms and arenas, see what's up and then just stay where I am.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too far in anywhere.
Yeah. Because you can get lost.
Yeah. So in this conversation with Angelo, it was so good, so informative. I feel in our first interview, I left with so much information that I could apply right away. I was so grateful he came. I didn't know so much of what he shared. And in this one, we went into greater detail on new research around protein. That's going to be super helpful for people. So if you're someone that's interested in your health and wellness, if you're someone that is working out, if you're someone that wants to feel better in your body, if you're someone that wants to sculpt a toned body, if you want to age better, if you want to activate your athleticism and increase your energy, you can do this with Aminos. And having Aminos is really fundamental for your life and your fitness. And so we spent a lot of time really going deeper on that, which was great.
I've actually been, there are so many days that I will replace my caffeine intake with the aminos because I find it just gives me a really nice energy. Like
Yeah.
it's not like that jolt and jittery. It's just like a really nice energy. So I'll take it before a workout. It's been phenomenal.
Yeah, that's so good instead of a pre-workout. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, the caffeine thing. I also think we were talking previously on another podcast about how Botox we think is going to kind of go out.
Yeah.
Also think that pre-workouts. I think it really had its time. I mean,
Dude, we were,
C4,
oh my God,
girl,
C4.
strawberry kiwi C4.
I actually never did C4.
No, strawberry lemonade.
But we loved a pre-workout. Maybe it was just me, but I thought you liked it too.
Silver Fern.
Silver Fern.
That was great though.
It was yummy.
It was clean and yummy.
It was clean and
Yeah.
yummy. But I just remember being like, I think I'm addicted to this.
No, I would be sprinting on the treadmill at a 10, feel like I'm rolling on ecstasy.
And I would be anxious if I didn't have it before a workout. Because
100%.
I'm like, I'm not the same.
I'm not the same.
crazy.
Like I would be tweaking on the subway at 4:30 a.m. on my way to a 5 a.m.
C4.
Soul Cycle on C4.
I mean, having that first thing in the
to
morning.
EDM, listening to trap music. Like,
What a different life. First thing in the morning, you're putting C4 in your body. Now it's like, we're doing the lemon water.
Now
we're
it's
doing
like
athletic greens. We're doing
the
all
Bible.
these things. Yeah, literally.
now just like the cleanest stuff. And
Holy moly.
Kion Aminos is amazing. It has 9 essential amino acids. It's really easy for your body to digest and absorb. It contains 8 times more essential amino acids than whole food protein. So that's why it's so important and tastes great. It has really good natural fruity flavors. I love the lemon lime. The berry one's really good. When I travel, take the supplements. I think that's my favorite product of theirs. I love the powders and the packets. They're really great, but the capsules have just been super helpful for me. And then I also have told you guys about creatine. I've been taking creatine for the past year now to really amplify my workouts, to help boost my athletic performance, to reduce my post-exercise fatigue and support my muscle mass and strength. It's really helped me to build more muscle and lean down. And so creatine is a product from Kion that I also take.
I love the mango. That's been my favorite. So I bring the packets with me wherever I go. I've been hitting the gym. I'm back at it. Woo-hoo. So it's been really, really great because I'm focusing on strength training. So just building that lean muscle has been awesome postpartum. So I'm excited for you guys to try. I'm excited for you to listen to this episode. You can go to getkion.com/almost30. That's GETKION.com/almost30. You will get 20% off.
It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Again, the creatine, their omega-3 is really nice. You can get the packets, the supplements, or the powder. All of that is incredible. And again, this is really essential to your health. It's something that cannot always be found easily, especially for people that are plant-based. I am mostly plant-based, so having this is key for me. And I really just truly love their brand. I really love Angelo. He's an incredible person. You can also listen to the first episode we did. So search Angelo Almost 30 to find that one. It's also in the show notes. So let's get into it. Thank you for being a part of Almost 30 Nation, our community. We love you very much. We have a book coming out next year, so stay tuned for that. We're really excited about it. Almost30.com, Almost 30 podcast on Instagram and TikTok, Almost 30 podcast on YouTube, and we'll see you on the other side.
We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye. I was at the gym the other day and I just giggled to myself in the best way because I saw someone scooping some Armra into their water bottle. And I was like, wow, the word is spreading. I have been taking Armra for about 2 years now. Y'all, I have seen such an improvement in my hair growth, my skin radiance, my gut health, my metabolism, my recovery, and even like my performance level when I'm working out or doing anything physically active. Armra is colostrum. It's a proprietary concentrate of bovine colostrum that harnesses over 400 living bioactive nutrients that strengthen the barriers of your body and fuel cellular health for thousands of research-backed health benefits. It's unbelievable. There's thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews. So if you don't believe me, go read those. But if you don't know what colostrum is, it's the first nutrition we receive in life and contains all of the essential nutrients our bodies need in order to thrive. This is bovine colostrum and it is the overflow. So this is the supply, the oversupply that the calf does not take And so it is sustainable. They are really committed to quality control. It is very evident through their entire process. They do very expensive auditing and third-party testing. So I really, really trust this brand. But try it out. I know you probably have heard about it, but maybe you've been waiting to try it. We have a discount. We've worked out a special offer for our audience. Receive 15% off your first order. Go to tryarmra.com/almost30 or enter almost 30 to get 15% off your first order. That's TRYARMRA.com/almost30. Oh, y'all, it is summer and we got to take our skin seriously. Like the skin on our bodies, our legs, our arms, the trunk of our body. We must because it's been a harsh winter, you know what I mean? And so stepping out into the spring and summer, it's just crucial for me to have healthy, supple skin. And I always, always, always turn to Osea. Osea is one of our favorite brands of all time. It's a skincare brand. Women founded this brand and they've been doing this for 27 years. And their products are clean and clinically proven. All of them have seaweed. It's like this super ingredient in all of their skincare. Um, you are going to love them. They smell amazing. They are clean. And I'm excited for you. So, this is what I love the Andaria Algae Body Oil. Holy moly. Smells like summer. It's summer in a bottle, actually. It's all natural. And it just leaves my skin so supple, like not sticky or anything, just amazing. It's clinically proven to instantly improve your skin's elasticity and deeply moisturize. You will be obsessed. Like I need to have two at all times just in case I run out. And that is like my summer staple. Check out their other products. You are going to love taking care of your skin because of Osea's products. Again, the Andaria Algae Body Oil is a must. You must get it. So get healthy, glowing skin for summer with clean vegan skincare and body care from Osea. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code A30POD at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. Head to OSEAMalibu.com and use code A30POD for 10% off.
Angelo, I'm so grateful you're here.
Krista, I'm so grateful to be here.
You have your daughter here, and it's been a pleasure and a delight for all of us to hang. Once again, you were here about a year or so ago, and our first conversation, it felt like so impactful for me because I've been in the health and wellness space for a long time. And I feel like a lot of it just really broke down and helped me understand so much of the language and terminology and things that we talk about in this space that I actually didn't know about around protein, around essential amino acids, around just fasting. Like it was just so impactful. So I'm so grateful to have you here. It was such a successful episode. So many people felt like it was like a masterclass in nutrition and you're just such an amazing speaker. So round 2, I'm excited to get into it.
That is a great introduction. Wow. I hope I like can meet the praise.
Aren't introductions weird? Because it's like, people are like, you're amazing, da, 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 da. And you have to like sit there and be like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, well, how do you respond?
Yeah,
like, that's a good, nice, simple,
you always have to have
way.
kind of like the self-deprecating thing where you're like, yeah, I hope like you can't be like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Well, I sincerely appreciate if that's all true. I appreciate the reflection.
It is true. So I think from the time that we were talking to now, I feel like the conversation around essential amino acids has sort of picked up. I think a lot of people are more interested in it and wanting to know more. And I feel like for our audience, especially being women, they're getting more curious about it. So how, first of all, if we were to define an essential amino acid, how would you define it?
So an essential amino acid is the active component of protein and the part of protein that you have to eat because you can't get it any other way. So maybe just to like unpack that and break it down a little bit, it's good to, I know in the first interview, we really covered the protein piece, but it's helpful, I think, just to review it a little bit. Like what is protein and why does it matter? And what are these, what does amino acids have to do with it? So protein is really different from the other two macronutrients. Because typically we'll talk about carbohydrates, fat, and protein in like one sentence and one, discussion.
And that's when we say macros, those are the things people are talking about.
That's what people are talking about. Yeah. So, and that's a great question because I think sometimes even we'll just gloss over this stuff, but micronutrients are things like the vitamins and minerals, and the macronutrients are these three: carbohydrates, fat, and protein. And actually alcohol is technically like a fourth macronutrient, but
How?
it's separate from it functions, and it has a caloric impact, and that's separate from like just having like carbs in it. It actually is, it's different.
Whoa.
It's a separate type of chemical compound.
So if someone's drinking, they feel like, I'm getting my macros.
Yeah. I mean, but there's basically no
value.
Yeah. I mean, there's an energetic value. Like it gives you some calories, but I would say it's the least valuable nutritive value of all of
you
the
don't gotta tell me.
macronutrients. Yeah.
Yes, if it's okay, if it's okay during a conversation, I might interrupt you a little bit because I think what's so important about how you educate people and the information is that there are terms like macros or essential amino acids or protein that people are glossing over that they don't really understand. So continue on what you were saying about essential amino acids.
I love that. I invite it. Anytime I say anything and you're like, whoa, like what? Like,
perfect.
Let's do it. So there's these three of carbohydrates, fat, and protein. The reason why we eat protein, though, is very different than the reason why we eat carbohydrates and fat. So with carbs and fat, their primary role in our body is for energy. Meaning, if we think about like our body and maybe like the analogy of a house, if you get energy from the energy grid, or you have solar panels or something like that, that energy comes into your house and you use it to like run your dishwasher and to run the lights, etc. Similarly, when you consume carbohydrates or fat from foods, you actually convert that into energy to like run your body, to beat your heart, to move through space, to breathe. Like you need the actual energy. Protein is really different. Protein is more like if, the hardwood floor in your house started to wear out and you need to replace some of the panels, or your bathroom is starting to look outdated, not yours, but like this is a made up situation, right? Like where a bathroom's starting to look outdated and you're like, I really want to like update this. I want to like look better. Right? I want to maybe redo the sink or redo the bathtub or the tile or whatever. And you need to like rip it out. You need to replace it. That's more of what protein's like, because the way that our bodies work is that we're actually made up of proteins. And the proteins in our body, they all also only have a certain like half-life. So let's actually take one step back. I said we're made up of proteins. Our organs, like hearts, kidneys, liver, spleen, our skin, our hair, our nails, all of our lean muscle, the enzymes in our body, the things that like make these other chemical reactions, hormones in our body, and even our neurotransmitters are proteins, or they're the metabolites, things that basically proteins turn into. They get broken down into and they turn into these things. So all of these in our body, we've got all these proteins that are actually like making us. They're like what built us. Similar to where the hardwood floor is actually your house. It's not the energy. It's actually your house.
The foundation.
It's the foundation.
Yeah.
It's the building materials. So similar to those, they like some of the way that your house works, it can wear out, or maybe you want to like redo it or repair it or fix it. So in my skin, for example, there's millions of proteins, and each one of those little proteins though doesn't last forever. At some point in time on its time basis, it gets old, and like that skin protein doesn't work as well. So it breaks apart. And when it breaks apart, what you notice is it's made up of all these little things called amino acids. There's 20 of them. And just think about them as like little building blocks of the protein. And when they break apart, they go into my blood, and some of them are still good. They can be reused. Some of them are old and you pee them out actually. So similarly, like if we were going to redo the hardwood floor in your house, right? Some of the panels are maybe still good. Oh, we can still reuse these. These other ones though, they're junk. We just got to throw them out. So you're left in the situation though, where some of the amino acids are still good. You've got them in your blood. You can use them to rebuild this piece of skin, this little skin protein, but you don't have enough. So how do you get then the new amino acids in your blood to help rebuild that skin protein? That is why we eat protein. When I eat quinoa, when I eat tofu, when I eat chicken, when I eat eggs, any of these things that have protein in it, my body digests it. It breaks it down into these little amino acids. It goes into my blood, and then it supplies my whole body with these amino acids to help rebuild my skin, my heart, my spleen, my protein, my lean muscle, my hair, all of these things. So that's why we eat protein. So I think once you get that, you're like, whoa, it's like not like carbohydrates and fat.
Yeah.
It's a very different, even though it's in the same category as a macronutrient, it plays a really different role.
It's interesting to hear the transportation mode that they go through in the body. I would assume, I think because of the assumption I have around protein, where I'm like, okay, protein is for building muscle. I think that's sort of what we've been sold about protein, is that it's specifically for building muscle. So I would have assumed that it would be like you digest it and then somehow it was brought to your muscles through maybe glucose or I don't know. And then you were feeding your muscles to be built, but to know it moves through your blood system is fascinating. Or is that just amino acids?
No, I think I love that you shared what you thought it meant, because part of what you just shared actually is correct.
Yeah.
So
that's what I like to hear too.
So you are right. So I eat protein. It breaks down into these amino acids in my digestive system. It goes into my blood, and it does go to my muscles. So why does it go to my muscles? Because my muscles have a lot of protein in them. Like my muscles, of all the protein in your body, your muscles make up a large proportion of the protein in your body. So there's more little proteins in your muscle that break down and need to be replaced than there are, say, proteins in your liver.
Wow.
Because there's so much more muscle mass in your body than there is liver mass, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that is why if someone wants to build more muscle, you need to give it the raw materials of the proteins, of the amino acids to build more muscle. But yeah, no matter whether it's your muscle or it's organ or your hair or any of these things that are made up of proteins, it gets to those places through the blood.
Wow.
The amino acids get there.
No matter what it's doing in the body, it's moved through the blood.
Yes.
Wow. And through the process of being moved through the blood, so is it digested? And then because, there's different types of essential amino acids, right? You said there's 20. So if there's 20 of them, they're all digested the same and then move through the blood. And then is it a certain essential amino acid are put in different specific parts? Like an essential amino acid for the liver would be different than for the muscles, or what is that? That's
a great question. So when you eat protein, there's these 20 amino acids that come out of the protein called the dietary amino acids. And they're the ones that get used to build other proteins throughout your body. Of those, 9 of them are essential. So 9 are essential, 11 are non-essential.
Say the difference between essential and non-essential.
So essential, there's 2 main things to know about essential amino acids. The first is in the name itself. Essential means that you have to eat it. It's essential to survive. And it's essential to survive because your body can't make them. So your body can actually make the other amino acids,
the other
largely
11.
via your liver. Like, so if you consume the main 9, it can actually make the other 11. That doesn't mean that you want to make your body do that. Like, it will also use the non-essential amino acids as well, but like, you have to get the essential amino acids. And this is the fundamental discussion that often gets had around plant-based diets and animal-based diets, is because plants typically do not have all 9 of the essential amino acids in a sufficient amount to be considered a complete protein to fulfill your needs for getting all the essential amino acids. And that's why people oftentimes combine different types of plant proteins like lentils and rice, or beans and quinoa, because when you combine these different plant sources, they have better profiles together. So it's actually a really important thing to just know and be aware of. When I'm trying to find a good protein source, I'm really trying to get a good source of these essential amino acids.
in the plant-based diet, are you able to get the essential so is it the combination of things that are allowing you to get all of the essentials? Is it one has all of the essentials? Is there no plant source that has all the essential? What is that?
So, I mean, I kind of hinted at it earlier. I basically named the ones that do have them. It's like quinoa and soy, like buckwheat. There's very few that have.
Can you name them all?
That's pretty much them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
quinoa, buckwheat.
Soy. I mean, that's why historically there's been things in the market like soy protein powders or tofu has been so popular.
Yeah.
And I know, and like it's fallen out of favor.
Because of the people say
it has phytoestrogens. There's been concerns around that, but then it's come back into favor. Yeah. So, but if you're just looking at it in terms of protein synthesis, its ability to support your body, it is a complete protein.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the.
Yep. So when we're looking at the essential amino acids and getting the 9 essentials with meat products or animal or let's say let's break them up. So let's do meat and then let's do other types of animal products. If we're looking at meat, does all meat have all essentials? Does some meat have the inessentials but also a benefit because it has those? Like what's the meat landscape?
So I'll take a step back and say, if I was going to evaluate the quality of a protein source and be like, hey, what's the best protein and why? I would start with number one, how digestible is the protein? Meaning and that doesn't just mean like, how does it feel when I eat it? Like, does my stomach feel good or bad? Like, more from like a biochemical perspective, can my body with its enzymes break down the protein and get the amino acids out of it? And so typically animal proteins are more digestible, and that doesn't necessarily have to be meat. That's even dairy products and eggs and things like that. So our body can actually break it down and get the amino acids out of it. Then the next question is, does the protein source have all the essential amino acids? And animal proteins across the board do. They have them all and they have them in sufficient amounts. Then the question is, what's the profile? And this is where it gets like more nerdy and like, does this really matter for everyone to understand and know? Like, I mean, if you eat good, high quality foods and like you maybe supplement a little bit, you're going to be fine. But I'll share the information for any nerds out there. Yeah. Yes, there's actually protein sources that have better profiles of essential amino acids, meaning like they have more leucine and more isoleucine and more valine, which are these really important essential amino acids that ensure that you stimulate even more protein synthesis in the body. And so, yeah, there are some sources that are better than others. And that's why something like a whey protein isolate has been such a popular protein powder, is because it's the essential amino acid profile that it has is better than basically all the other protein powder type sources in terms of how much protein synthesis it will stimulate. One thing I'm noticing though, it's maybe worth like taking a step back is that second reason. We're kind of winding in and out of these different conversations.
Yeah, this is how talking
which I think is
like.
good. I think it's great. This is like,
it's like, where are we going?
This is like life, But I said, well, why are essential amino acids important? The number one reason was because your body can't make them. Yeah. You have to eat them. The second reason why they're so important, and this can tell a better story of why some food sources are better than others, is because they're not actually only the building material. Like, so for example, I was giving earlier the analogy that they're like the hardwood floor materials, right? They also play this role as a chemical messenger, which really all I mean to say by that is like, they actually start a process. So they're not just like a material, they're like tell the body to do something. And so they're almost more like the contractor or the person you hire to put in the new wood floor. If you consume essential amino acids, and particularly in a higher dose, then they will say, hey, let's go replace that older skin that doesn't look or feel as good. Hey, let's go replace the older muscle tissue that's not performing as well. It actually kickstarts a whole new process.
So it's like more like a proactive type of thing rather than like, and this isn't, I don't want to be like so reductionary, but it's like, when I think about replacing the skin or the things like that, it's almost, I think about collagen and its way of supporting the skin and nails, where before your body will do it, but at a lesser amount. But if you have that addition of the amino acids from collagen, it's like proactive with the early replacement so that you have a better benefit.
Yeah. Collagen is still it's more about that you're giving it like this surplus of building materials.
Right.
With collagen, you're giving it this surplus of,
So you have extra wood
you have
floor.
a ton of hydroxyproline, proline, and glycine, these unique amino acids, non-essential
3 of them.
amino acids, 3 of them
Okay.
in collagen. So collagen is really cool. It's not a complete protein. It overall will not.
That blew my mind because
Yeah.
you guys, I used to only do collagen and I thought I was getting my thing. And now I still do collagen, but I have my Kion aminos so that I have all my essential aminos. I did not know that. And I was pulling the collagen lever every day.
Which is still, it's not a bad thing.
Yes.
It's you're supplying yourself with a ton of these really specific amino acids that help with hair, skin, joints, etc. But yeah, it's more like you've just got like tons of it. So it's like, it almost like, it's like you can build it more lusciously in a way.
Yes.
Maybe that's a way of thinking about it. Whereas the essential amino acids are actually the workers.
Yes.
Like it's actually like,
Yes.
yeah, and think about it. It's hard because, I think any comparisons I do, it's not going to be totally fair.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about like, you take caffeine and like, you actually like feels like it
Yes.
starts a process, right? So it's not like that. But imagine that you take these amino acids and it actually like starts a process. It starts building something. It's not just like, hey, I gave my body all these things that it needed. I actually told my body, go find old proteins, rebuild them.
Wow.
So the different protein sources can be better or worse in terms of that. Well, they can be more efficient,
Right.
which is really interesting. So I'll give you an example of a few different protein sources, and it's not just the source of the protein, but it's how you eat it that makes it so interesting.
Wow.
So if I eat 30 grams of beef on its own, it will stimulate as much new protein synthesis as more than twice that amount if I eat it as part of a mixed meal. So I'll give the precise research that's been on this. So 30 grams of beef, like I just like eat a little piece
Yeah.
of steak, right?
Yes.
Or I eat 70 grams of steak, of protein as part of steak. It's actually like 12 ounces of steak. It's like
Yeah.
that's how much protein is in it. But I eat it with broccoli and mashed potatoes and other foods. I will stimulate as much protein synthesis eating half the amount of protein. And the reason for
Wow.
that is because when you eat the meat on its own and it gets digested on its own, the essential amino acids, this active component, the thing that actually is telling the body to rebuild the old proteins, enters the blood more quickly and hits these peak concentrations. It's like there's a ton of the essential amino acids in the blood all at once. Versus when I eat it with like broccoli and potatoes and these other things, it's mixed up in the digestive system. It's slower to get it. You still get them all,
Right.
but they more slowly get into the blood. They do not promote as much new protein synthesis, half the amount.
Wow. You know what's interesting, and you don't even need to answer this because I think it's just the thought that I have, is that speaks to what I've noticed is that there is more of an effect of food combining than I think we think. I think when food combining came on the scene, everyone was like, that's ridiculous. Food combining doesn't matter. But now based on research in blood sugar glucose, I know through, my friend Jesse, and then even talking about that, like the combination of food actually matters to specific actions in the body, and knowing that you could essentially have your protein in that way and then maybe the other items later so that you have that effect that you're looking for is so interesting.
Yeah, I think too, it's one of those things where it's like, what's the frame of the conversation?
Yeah.
So
right.
how important is food combining? Like I would say, big picture, if you are someone who can eat a few high quality whole food meals per day that mix vegetables and fruits and meat sources, if you're into that, or other high quality, plant proteins, and it's not a bunch of processed stuff. It's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's like, make that the primary focus. And I think maybe sometimes people think, why are you acting like it's so important to talk about food combining or not?
Right.
Well, it's like it's a more nuanced discussion. Like it does have an impact. It does matter. Maybe it doesn't matter as much as like if you're not even eating whole, good quality foods, then like let's not overcomplicate
100%.
it for people. But if you are trying to achieve a higher degree of physical performance, you're trying to have a significantly more toned body. Like your focus is really like, hey, I want lean muscle and less fat, or you're aging. And aging, we used to think it was like starts at like, these impacts start at like 50, they start at 30.
Which impacts?
So our ability to digest protein and our sensitivity to rebuild old proteins significantly starts to decrease at the age of 30. And every decade after 30, it gets progressively worse and worse and worse and worse. So then suddenly, if I'm talking to an 18-year-old or I'm talking to my daughter and I just want her to like eat some protein in the meal, I'm not like, Genevieve, you really need to like eat I'm just like, just eat the protein.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking to myself, who's now 40, or to my parents who are in their 70s, I'm like, hey, you know what? Actually, if you're going to have this extra snack, like maybe like have the meat on its own, because it will promote that much more. So it's different. Or if I was coaching someone who was trying to lose 20 pounds of fat, but they want to maintain the muscle, I'd be like, hey, this actually matters.
Right.
So it's all in the context.
Totally.
It's not
I think food and nutrition is all, in the context. It's all. And I think when we're thinking about if you want higher level results and if you're performing at a higher level, or if you're looking to be beyond just average level healthy, then you're going to be in a little bit more nuance.
Exactly.
Of the things. You're going to be in a lot more detail. You're going to be like with the Oura ring, you're going to be studying the different things. And again, I'm not telling people to food combine or not, but I'm just saying that the impact of the way that we're eating our food does have more of an impact than I think that we were assuming for a while. But I want to like double click on you saying that about 30, where it gets harder so it's harder to digest protein. And then what was the other thing?
Our sensitivity to the amino acids as this kind of chemical messenger to rebuild old proteins. And actually, it's also true for resistance training. Basically, as we get older, think about it this way. In the past, we didn't live past 50.
Yeah.
Right? So our bodies didn't start...
I don't know why. Literally in my head, I was like, the good old days. Dude, I literally don't know where that voice came from. That was dark.
I mean, it's a whole new world now.
It's like how
long we can potentially live and how we want to live those years and what our values are around it and what's important to us. But yeah, just overall, it's like, we were in a child stage. We went through adolescence. We developed the ability to like reproduce. We reproduced, and then we were like on the decline, right? And so our bodies don't necessarily emphasize the importance of trying to like maintain the healthiest skin possible, maintain all my lean muscle, rebuild all of these old proteins and make them as new and fresh as possible. I sound like a robot. I'm thinking about my daughter making fun of me, but
we'll have to do an insert.
But like we don't prioritize doing that, right? So that's what starts to happen. It's at a chemical level where basically we don't stimulate mTOR as much, which is like this core growth mechanism that basically tells your body to rebuild proteins as we get older. So when we do exercise or resistance training, or when we eat protein, it stimulates much less new protein synthesis than it did when we were younger. And it significantly decreases every decade.
That's interesting. I wonder, so I've been taking different types of peptides recently, and I do feel like the ones that I'm taking are stimulating my pituitary gland to increase the amount of human growth hormone that I have. I wonder if that's like that is part of the mechanism that's going against that process.
I mean, if you're increasing human growth hormone, then you're definitely within the vibe. It's within the vibe.
I'm like, don't go further on this because I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I mean, you're definitely, you're changing dynamics around anabolic resistance, meaning these things that like anabolic resistance is just, as we get older, there's more resistance to like grow, to build.
Yes, exactly.
To build new. And if you're increasing the amount of human growth hormone, then you're affecting that
ability.
Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting that happens as we get older. It's almost, it's like, it's weird because you would think it would just increase over time, but it's like we kind of plateau around 30 with certain mechanisms.
Yeah, we plateau or it starts to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, it is summer and I am not going to skimp on taking care of myself, specifically my gut, in the summer months. Sometimes there are certain aspects of my wellness routine that go by the wayside because I'm just loosey-goosey during the summer months, but nah. This summer, I am going to take care of my gut. And the way that I do that and really set the tone for the rest of the day to make healthy choices is by taking Seeds DSO1 Daily Synbiotic. I've been taking this pre and probiotic for, I think it's like 3 years now. This is a capsule and capsule design. It's patented, and basically it will protect the fragile bacteria through the whole journey from shipping to where it needs to go in your body, which is unheard of because a lot of pre and probiotics do not work because they do not survive your GI tract. So this is really, really important. But it is important to take care of your gut. I'm sure you've heard this, but let me remind you, your gut is a pathway for just so much. It's like a central hub for all the pathways like digestion, skin health, heart health, immune system. So if you want to improve any of those or all of those, I would start here, really treating your gut. So Seeds DSO1 Synbiotic is easy. You just take 2 every single morning on an empty stomach. I would recommend with water. And there you go, just every single day. Support your gut this summer with Seeds DSO1 Daily Synbiotic. Go to seed.com/almost and use the code 25almost to get 25% off your first month. Major discount won't last long, so take advantage now. That's 25% off your first month of Seeds DSO1 Daily Synbiotic at seed.com/almost. Code is 25almost. You know me, I'm always trying to do right by my body. But when it comes to my hair, like I haven't always been as diligent, but I am on that train now. So what I've realized is that finding a product that actually works for my hair, that's also clean, like has clean ingredients, is or has been hard, except now I have found a brand for us, babies. It's called Vegamour, Vegamour. Their products are made with clean ingredients and give me visibly healthy hair and scalp, and I am just blown away. Also, smells phenomenal. I've noticed that my hair is thicker, fuller, shinier, longer, all without the harsh ingredients. Like I can actually give myself like a little blowout afterwards and it looked good rather than with like other clean products that I feel like just stripped my hair and just didn't work. Um, what's even better is that Vegamour's value kits, like the Grow Essentials kit, which is my recommendation to you, where you get to try more than one amazing product at a great savings. When you sign up for a monthly subscription, you save even more. So I need you to run to this one. The Grow Essentials kit is what I recommend. And again, I just have experienced these products as actually working and I am blown away. So yeah, the kits are where it's at. I'm going to recommend the Grow Full Routine Kit. This is like start to finish hair wellness. So it has the shampoo, the conditioner, it has the Grow Scalp Detoxifying Serum, the Grow Hair Serum, the Grow Dry Shampoo, which I love. Like it is stacked and it's so freaking good. Again, you're going to get a discount on top of the savings you'll get when you get the kit. It's just so worth it. So elevate your hair wellness routine this year with Vegamour. For a limited time, get 20% off your first subscription order by going to vegamour.com/almost30 and use the code almost30 at checkout. That's vegamour.com/almost30. Code is almost30 to save 20% major discount on your first order. vegamour.com/almost30 and the code is almost30.
So what is the role? This is, something I've been wanting to talk about because a lot of our community cares about this. What is the role of the essential amino acids in your weight or body composition?
So, I'll bridge that discussion with where we just left off around like eating
That's why you're the best.
Eating this meat on its own.
Yep.
So what's fascinating is that people, I think, oftentimes think I need to eat more protein. And so what they do is they take like a protein powder or they have like a protein powder as part of a shake. And they don't realize that that protein powder, in many cases, especially if it's something like a whey protein isolate, is much more effective than just eating more meat or more other types of whole food protein. And the reason for that is because whey protein powder, like I gave this example earlier where 30 grams of meat is, as much as 70 grams of meat if you eat it on its own in terms of how much protein synthesis it stimulates. Well, if I take a whey protein powder it stimulates 3 times as much protein synthesis as the meat on its own. It's 3 times as effective.
Why?
So because all of the carbs have been stripped out, the fat's been stripped out. It's this very isolated protein.
I hear you.
It's digested that much more quickly. It hits the bloodstream that much more quickly. And it has a slightly better essential amino acid profile as well. Then if I compare that to essential amino acids, which are the reason why they're better than the whey protein isolate is because they don't have any of the non-essential amino acids, and they're only the essential, whereas the whey protein is still half. All these meats, all these good quality proteins are still half non-essential. It's only the essential amino acids, and it's immediately digested. There's really no digestion. It just goes into you absorb and it goes into your blood.
Wow.
It stimulates 3 times as much as the whey protein isolate does.
So that's 9 times as much as the other.
Yes.
Did you see what I just did?
Yeah, that's some pretty good mental
I
math.
know,
Yeah.
honestly.
So
Big bucks.
yeah. So what you start to see is like, wow, okay, so it's not all the same. Like people just be like, essential amino acids, protein, powder, well, they're all the same. They're not all the same. They're very distinctly different in terms of how much protein synthesis they stimulate. So from a perspective of weight management, the key aspects that we want to be thinking about, I think, for sustainable weight management and whatever your ideal body composition is that what you're trying to do is you ideally want to minimize the amount of empty calories that you eat. So you're trying to eat a caloric intake every day that gives your body what it really needs. And that means, well, you definitely need fiber, you need different types of micronutrients, you really need protein. Protein is what's going to help maintain your skin, your hair, your lean muscle, all these types of things, right? And you're trying to not have as much of the stuff that doesn't do that, right? That's why things like...
And that would be an empty calorie.
Yeah,
So how would you
it's not
describe
an empty. I mean, it's not like a calorie is totally empty. Like an Oreo is not empty. It actually has energy in it
Yes.
that you can burn. But if that's all it has no micronutrients.
Yeah.
It has very little protein. It's just like this sugar that just comes in and like, yeah, it gives you energy, but like it doesn't give you anything else. It's going to likely be pretty hard to try to, maintain an ideal body weight, et cetera, if you eat too many of those things, because you're trying to get in all these other things that actually matter more. They're more important. So that's kind of like the big frame, right? But if you're in a situation where you want to lose fat, but you want to maintain muscle, you now need to eat less calories than you need on a given day. Mm-hmm. So if on a given day, you need 2,000 calories just to maintain exactly what you look like today, right? And you want to lose, though, say, a few pounds of fat. Mm-hmm. You need to eat less calories, right? And
someone else.
This is not you. Yeah. Your bathroom is wonderful. You are beautiful. You're perfect as you are.
Literally. If someone else as the example needed to lose weight.
So let's just say it's, 2,000 calories.
Yep.
Well, so the way that the science works is that when you take in less calories than you need, you don't get the same benefit from the protein as before. And I'll now explain how this works. Mm-hmm. So if I go on a 30% caloric deficit, meaning I eat 30% less calories than I need, that would be for someone who would consume 2,000 calories a day, that'd be 600 calories less per day. So they'd now be eating 1,400 calories a day. And the way that typical nutritionists have thought has been, well, you lose about a pound of fat for 3,500 calories. Mm-hmm. So after about 6 days,
you lose a pound.
You lose about a pound of fat. But what's often neglected is that in a caloric deficit, you also lose muscle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you don't just lose a pound of fat.
Well, you can also lose a pound of muscle from just a 750 calorie deficit. Now it matters, which is significantly less than the fat. Now it matters what's in your diet and what you're eating. But typically, if you were to do that, you'll probably lose about half fat, half muscle. And it kind of depends on how much protein you're eating, et cetera. If you want to lose no muscle, the science has shown that you have to increase your daily essential amino acid intake, meaning it's protein or it could be essential amino acids via supplements, by 300% to maintain no muscle loss during that cut. So if I cut,
Wow.
if I cut,
So you can cut the calories, lose the fat, but increasing your essential aminos will allow you to maintain muscle.
will allow you to maintain all the muscle.
Wow.
And the reason for that is because it makes sense. If I cut all these calories, my body suddenly is like, I'm hungry, right? And like, I'm not getting enough. And so, yes, it's going to burn fat stores, but it's also going to be looking at the protein that I'm eating and saying, I don't want to use this to like build new muscle. I'm hungry. I'm going to, even though it's not efficient, I'm going to convert the amino acids in the protein into sugars. Their gluconeogenesis. It's basically going to become it's going to turn into the sugar for me, and then I'm going to use it as energy. So it deprioritizes the use of the protein to actually build and maintain lean muscle and for skin and for all these other things, and instead converts it into like an energy source, which is not ideally what your body would do, but that's what it does because it's hungry, right?
Wow.
Whereas if you consume way more additional protein or essential amino acids, you can lose no muscle. So an example of this is there's a guy in my office who had a shoulder injury. He was not able to work out, but he was really wanting to cut. So he basically started counting his calories, doing macro tracking, very clean diet, like eating whole foods, like super knowledgeable guy about this stuff, but dramatically increased his essential amino acid intake through taking more Kion aminos. I mean, this is like multiple servings a day.
Yeah.
And in 3 months, he lost 25 pounds of fat and lost no muscle. And he did this through body scans. I mean, he did regular, body composition scans and was able to very clearly show he lost no muscle. And the way that he did that is because he increased the essential amino acids so much. So when you start to think about body composition and weight loss and these types of things, I think there's a general maintenance conversation, right? Like if you like the way you look right now and you just want to maintain it as you age, that's one thing. But if you're trying to lose fat and maintain muscle, then it's not just about cutting the calories, because what you will do is you could actually lose a lot of that muscle in that process. And then suddenly it's harder to build back the muscle. And the muscle plays this key role in regulating your metabolism. It helps you have a higher metabolism. It gives everyone the tone or look they want. So it's like, you're going to want the muscle. So you really want to focus on eating a lot more protein and or consuming supplementary essential amino acids during any type of period where you're trying to deliberately lose fat and maintain your muscle.
Wow. That's huge. I was just thinking about too, when you're the person that you have on your team, it's so interesting to me, and this is a side conversation, but I feel like men have this ability to be so much more like scientific and just be like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And they're just like, I'm going to read these things. Like women have such a deeper emotional connection to food that I feel like than men have. Like men are like, this will be fun. I'm going to lose tons of fat and all. And women are like, we're just so much more connected to the food that we eat in such a different way. So for one of the things that I've really loved about the aminos is the energy that it gives me. Like I was someone that did coffee for a long time. I was a pre-workout girly, part of that whole generation of C4, did Celsius, and now I don't do any caffeine at all. I haven't for the past 2 years, and I've felt so much better being in control of my own energy. But it has been nice to have aminos before my workout, in the afternoon if I need a little bit of energy. It's been really beautiful. What is that? What's happening in the body where these essential aminos are giving you energy?
I really commend you for getting off caffeine. That's a hard one.
Are you on it?
I'm on it. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm on it, and like I still I like it enough. Like it's not one. I don't feel that conflicted. I don't feel conflicted over. I like it.
Yeah.
But I know like that's not an easy thing to do.
It made me sick in the end.
Especially with the cultural influences.
Totally.
Like it's just something that's so popular.
I think in the end, everyone's kind of becoming sober curious. People are coming off alcohol. I think in the next couple of years, people are going to be reevaluating the relationship that they have with caffeine, because caffeine is now in so many beverages, so many supplements. Caffeine is in so many more things than it should be. And I think it's affecting us in ways that I think we need to look at and evaluate, especially with anxiety, especially with all these things. Not that I'm saying that all caffeine is bad, but I think we're getting too much of it. That's my soapbox.
I believe it. I think you're right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So caffeine blocks neurotransmitter receptors.
Yes.
That's the way it works. It basically blocks these receptors in your brain to where you don't think that you're tired. And then it kind of fundamentally changes the sensation that you have, because these transmissions can't be made.
Yeah, because the transmissions, we're going to tell your body and brain that you're tired, right?
Yeah.
And it blocks the ability for your brain, for the neurotransmitters are now blocked from telling yourself that you're tired.
Yeah.
I'm also not on the tip of lying to my body anymore, or like if my body's tired, then I need to rest. That's my thing.
That's a good one too. I love that. I love that. So how do aminos work?
Yes.
Well, essential amino acids do a few things. One is that, as I said earlier, the neurotransmitters themselves, so the chemicals in our brain through which we experience emotions and all of our thinking and all like this mental experience, it's conducted through these chemicals. They are amino acids or the metabolites of amino acids. So supplying ourselves with a sufficient amount of essential amino acids through food and through supplementation necessarily can improve overall mood and reduction of fatigue. Not through blocking something, but like literally just giving your body what it wants. And maybe this is a closer analogy to the idea of collagen, like an overabundance, like giving it like plentiful amount of what it needs to perform well. So in addition to the brain and supporting with neurotransmitters is just being like giving yourself a lot of these amino acids. They also play a key role at the level of the mitochondria in your muscle cells. So your muscle cells are trying to convert glucose into ATP quickly, so you can like perform actions, do things. And some of the essential amino acids, particularly leucine, plays a really important role in actually just facilitating that process. And you actually burn a lot of that leucine, not as an energy source, but as the facilitator for this process when you exercise. So if you do a lot of exercise without consuming essential amino acids or protein beforehand, after a certain point in time, you'll actually start to get this fatigue for a couple of reasons. One is you have burned so much of the leucine through trying to support the production of the ATP that you start to break down muscle to supply the blood with new amino acids to support the process. And that like makes your muscles feel tired.
Yeah.
Because when we think about energy, part of it is like, does my brain feel tired or does like my body feel tired? So this is like body
Story of my
tired.
life.
Like your body will actually start to feel tired. But also, and this one's really interesting, when that happens, when you oxidize all this leucine through the production of the new ATP, the amount of leucine in your blood goes down relative to the amount of tryptophan in your blood. And anyone who's heard like the cliche of like turkey tryptophan, it's actually true.
Where did that come from? Because that's like the only fact I know of life.
Yeah, so there actually is a lot of tryptophan in turkey meat. And tryptophan, when you have higher levels of it in your blood, it passes through the blood-brain barrier. Tryptophan becomes 5-HTP. 5-HTP becomes serotonin. Ultimately, serotonin becomes melatonin. But the serotonin itself actually makes you feel kind of more like soft and sleepy and mellow. So when you are exercising for an extended amount of time, you can, it's called the central fatigue hypothesis. You potentially generate more serotonin in the brain and you feel more like you're not feeling super energized, like an adrenaline rush. You're feeling like a serotonin, like mellow vibe. So by taking these essential amino acids, you can support both physical energy and mental energy.
That's so interesting where you mentioned about the brain and body tired, because I've been thinking about that lately where I've been like tuning into my body of when I am tired, and it does feel like I have a brain tired, not a physical tired. Is there a difference?
Well, I mean, I think the notions of, to be totally honest, like all the notions of like tiredness, I am not an expert on all of this. So I'd be like, to some point.
You're being my therapist at this point, honestly.
But I would say like I think there's a lot of different things that play into feeling tired, right? And they can be things that are related to neurotransmitter balance. They can be related to overall like metabolism and blood sugar levels. They can be related to other types of like hormonal impacts. They can be tied to literally things like, you know, like exercise fatigue, muscle soreness. So I think you're right in thinking maybe there's a distinct type of tired that you're feeling that feels different than something you felt before. And what is that about? And how can I explore that and learn more about that?
Yeah. I think it could be more blood sugar because it's like I feel it in my head. And I feel like my body tired is such a different one, but what is the role? So blood sugar, I think, and glucose has been such a conversation too, where people are talking a lot about sugar. They're talking a lot about glucose and how to have less blood sugar spikes. What is the role of amino acids in our blood sugar levels?
So it really starts with muscle. Muscle absorbs 80% of the sugar
That we consume.
Yeah. So, and that's like a general rule. If you have more muscle, it consumes more of it. The more muscle you have, the easier it is for you to digest sugar and for that sugar to not increase this spike into your overall blood sugar because your muscle's absorbing it.
Got it.
And that's why in like typical exercise science, it makes the most sense if you're going to like consume carbs and sugar
To do it before workout.
before a workout.
'Cause it'll get into your
You're actually
muscles.
going to use it. Yeah.
Wow.
You're actually going to burn it and use it, and it can be utilized for your muscles.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think the biggest, most important point is just understanding building and maintaining lean muscle. And again, this doesn't mean like getting jacked or something, but it's like if you replace 3 pounds of fat with 3 pounds of muscle, you will be able to more easily metabolize sugar. It'll have a lower impact on you in terms of like a spike
Wow.
than if you didn't.
So that's when you can reduce the blood sugar spike. So then the essential amino acid supports your muscles and muscle building, which essentially supports you having a better relationship with your blood sugar because the muscles are then absorbing more of the blood sugar.
Correct.
Wow. And then, so that's basically the role that they play with blood sugar only.
Yeah, I think like taking them, I would say that's the most important role
Right.
they play. In addition to that, when you take essential amino acids, you're overall stimulating this process of protein synthesis that is energy intensive.
Yes.
It's actually increasing your metabolism literally just by taking the essential amino acids because you're rebuilding all these proteins. And so overall, that's going to require energy sources, and it could absorb some of the impact of sugars or carbs or anything else that's entering your body.
Because so the energy that it takes to break down protein is the highest level of energy of any macros, right?
Yeah, so there's two things going on, and that's why like not all macros are the same. It's something that's come up is that when I eat carbohydrates or fat, it's just energy. Like I'm just like breaking it down so that I can burn it as energy. With protein, first of all, you actually have to, it's a little bit more complicated to digest it. So it actually takes a bit more energy to digest it itself. On top of that though, it now if it's full of essential amino acids, it kickstarts this process of protein synthesis, and or it gets used in a process of protein synthesis that is energy intensive. Like there's no, when I eat the carbs and fat, like I either burn it and use it right then, or if I don't, I'm going to store it and keep it. Whereas like with the protein, it's actually getting used for a process in the body to rebuild old protein. So they're not equal. And you actually, the total calorie value of eating like protein is somewhere between 10 and 30% less
Wow.
than a carbohydrate that technically they both have, 4 calories per gram. But when you consume something like a whey protein isolate, because it stimulates so much more protein synthesis than just the average piece of meat, or you consume essential amino acids, which stimulates even more, the caloric efficiency is that much greater.
Wow.
Because it's like, it's overall, it's doing all these activities in your body. It's not just this like energy source that's being used.
Wow. So for 3 things that someone could do after listening to this podcast, what would you say those 3 things are?
I think if you have a unique goal in one of these 3 areas, either you want to lose fat and you want to maintain muscle, or you are trying to be more active or have just like a higher kind of general like physical performance, and whatever that is, so it's yoga or Pilates or running or going to the gym or whatever, and or you are over 30. And I feel like your audience is kind of starting to crack that now, it's like, and you're just starting to learn about that. The importance of getting in a sufficient amount of daily essential amino acids like cannot be,
Understated.
It's just really something to focus on. So I would be trying to get that in through your diet, through protein and really quality meals. Like number 1, like look for things that are high in those. That's things like Greek yogurt and chicken. If you're open to meats, like chicken and lean poultry and fish, There's great sources of dairy like Parmesan cheese. There's things that like you probably don't think about all the time. Eggs. And if you're plant-based, just really think about how to combine them. And if that's hard or you're looking for like ways to like supplement it, I think just honestly, if you can add an essential amino acid supplement first thing every morning, you immediately are starting to like, you're supporting that goal, and it's a very easy thing to add. It's a very easy habit to build. It doesn't create, it's just not hard.
It's not at all.
It's super easy.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Every time I travel, I have the little packs. Like, it's just take a shot or just sip it. It's like so easy.
Yeah.
I love the pills too.
I like the capsules too.
I like the
Honestly, they're super
capsules.
easy. Yeah, I don't have to drink anything. And
So in the Kion products, they have a lot of different things, but they have the pill form of the aminos and they have the powders. The pills are like the easiest. I do the powders when I travel though.
Yeah. I do the powders like if I'm in like a kickboxing class or something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like because it is hydrating. It improves the hydration of the beverage itself.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like if it's first thing in the morning, just take the capsules.
Yeah.
So I think overall, quality whole food protein diets is like the thing to think about. Number 2, if you can add something like an essential amino acid supplement. And then number 3, this is not something we talked about in the podcast, but it would be just like breathe and chill
Connect
out.
to God.
Yeah, breathe, connect to God, like chill out, like smile.
You're like, hug your mom.
Yeah, for real.
That's
though.
my
Like,
vibe.
Yeah, like what is it? Like what will just like,
100%.
we had all these like serious things we were talking about and like getting all nutty on the health stuff, which is cool. And it really can make a difference. And like,
But what are we doing this for?
Breathe, relax, smile, hug someone you love, be nice.
It's about having a functioning body that feels really good. But then what's the purpose of that? To live and enjoy a life.
Yeah.
To feel connected to something, to feel on purpose, which is so, so good. Has there any last sciencey thing? Has there been any cool research that's come out lately that you're really excited about?
So really cool research came out last year, and it's not necessarily new research, but it's a summary. There's this organization called the International Society of Sports Nutrition. And if you're ever wondering about like a supplement, is this thing legit? Does it actually work or not? Who has studied this? They're a third-party organization of academics from around the world who do all the research. They critique all these studies. They critique each other. They're like arguing with each other about what's legit and what's not. But they'll publish these things called position papers that basically give a summary of all the research, and they're able to explain it it's still sciencey, but it's not like you're having to read through an actual research study paper. They released one in October of 2023, and it basically covered some of the things we discussed here today, but even more robustly, and just really, I think, validated why and how essential amino acids are such a potential crucial supplement for, especially as we age, but for athletic populations, for people who are trying to lose weight and maintain their muscle. And with the amount of people now that are doing things with like GLP-1 agonists and other types of like just assisted weight loss, the importance of protein and essential amino acids cannot be understated. And I think that paper just really highlighted how valuable essential amino acids are, and not from like, there's one new study. No, there's 137 studies are quoted in that paper.
Wow.
So I think it validated it in such a way that it's like, hopefully more doctors and all different types of medical practitioners will start to see that it could really be a valuable supplement for a lot of people.
Yeah, especially with the GLP-1 agonist. Dr. Peter Attia was talking about how it's like people, and that's like the Ozempic, that's like the Mounjaro, and that's people will lose weight so quickly, but a lot of it will be muscle. So if someone is on something like that, it's like making sure even more so that they're getting the essential amino acids so that they're covering their bases there, especially when you're kind of changing other things.
Yeah, I think regardless of however you get this like caloric deficit, it doesn't really matter whether it's through willpower or tracking a little thing or through it's getting a shot or it's surgery or like whatever it is. Like if you are consuming a lot less calories than you typically do, you need to be looking at the essential amino acids. Otherwise you're gonna lose muscle, a lot of it.
Wow. What is one thing you're really excited about with Kion that's upcoming? Like what's making you really pumped about things?
Just loving it for what it is. Like not I feel like so often people are like trying to like figure out like what to do next with the business or how to do this thing. And it's
You're
like,
speaking my language.
I'm just like things are going really well. I think we have all gotten healthier. Like our whole team has gotten healthier in terms of like our expectations from the company and what it is. And we've gotten clear about what we're about and who we're helping and why. And we're doing well. And so it's like, just be happy and enjoy it. Just celebrate.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Just
I'm obsessed with that. That is like, that's the whole goal. I do feel like it is kind of the thing when you're an entrepreneur. It's like, what's next? What are you excited about? And it's like, I feel really good where I am. I'm really grateful.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's going well.
Exactly.
I mean, like if it's like, I think about other times in my life when things were not figured out. I mean, there was a beginning of Kion where it was like way scrappier and did not know what was going to happen next and was just trying lots of things. And it's like, no, it's been like 8 years now and it's solid.
And it's like, once you get to the place, if you're not celebrating it, then what? You're never going to be there.
Yeah. I think at, I think one of the greatest issues for so many of us, and I don't know if it's an American thing or contemporary society thing, but just understanding what enough is. It's like if you constantly move the goalpost on yourself and nothing is ever enough, then like when do you ever just get to like be happy?
Preach. I was talking about this in the interview just before us. I've been talking about this in my program, Metamorphosis. And it's like, I think that's just been interesting because that's like an underlying energetic current that runs through so much of the issues and struggles that people are with, whether it's enough with their weight and their body, whether it's enough with how much money they're making, whether it's enough with their productivity or their output. Like the not enoughness that just sort of motivates everyone to do everything is like so much of what causes us so much pain. Not feeling like the business is doing enough, not feeling like they're doing enough, not feeling like they are whatever. And once we can be there or allow ourselves to accept where we are, that's what's so beautiful is that things actually really start to shift, which is really cool.
Yeah. And it's tricky. It's like, you can't try to like trick the reality where it's like, I'm going to act like I think it's enough. So then the things start to shift, but it really 100%. Does work that way when it's like, if I actually just accept.
Carl Rogers talks about that paradox of transformation. He's like the original psychologist who invented like talk therapy pretty much, CBT. But he talks about like, he says the curious thing about change is that, or the curious thing about transformation is once I accept something, then it changes. And I think that's with people. I think that's with our body. I think that's with our life is, it's supported me in every area when I'm really able to accept things as it is. It transforms in like, not a way of like how I wanted it to, but in something better. Because if you're like, I love you so much, I want,
that's the
weird.
Visualization I had. It's like, I'm holding onto this thing so tight and I'm wanting it to like move over here or do this thing, but I'm holding onto it so tight. It can't do anything. It can't do its own thing. It can't evolve. The new opportunity can't emerge. It can't become whatever it's supposed to become because I'm gripping onto it. And once I let it go, it can actually like move and float and be influenced by other things. And like the whole thing can evolve. And so, it's like that grip on ourselves, on who we think we need to be, what we want, on other people. Like it's
like
stifling.
that focus of like, not enough, not enough, not enough. It's like that energy current of not enough, of needs to change, of needs to change. And when the energy is kind of moved elsewhere or moved to like acceptance, it's allowed to like transform and evolve to what it's meant to be or like what it should be or something that's even more beautiful or something that's even more real. But it is such a weird thing that I think until I'm on the other side of where I've experienced it, I wouldn't believe it if you told me.
Yeah. And I think the thing is because it really is like, it's because you're changing your perspective.
Yes.
So it's almost like, it's like you're sitting in you're sitting, I don't know if you're sitting in the audience or you're sitting backstage.
Yeah.
And you're wishing it was some other way. And then if you switch to that other seat, then suddenly you see it in a whole new way. And you realize that like, oh, it was just happening or the way it was working could just work this other way. But you can't really communicate to yourself because you've only seen it from this perspective, from this angle where where it's not enough, where I'm trying to control it, where it's not good enough. And if you like change your whole, where you're sitting, I don't know, or your orientation to it or what you're trying to get from it,
your
then
perspective too.
Yeah.
Is really huge. I think life is just about your perspective of it, because someone else maybe, or you at a different time would be like, Kion's not doing enough, or I'm not doing enough, or they're not doing enough. But once you kind of shift to being like, wow, this is a really beautiful, successful, like thriving business that is supporting the people I love and supporting people in its mission and doing better than you could have ever dreamed, then you're like, okay, we're really there. We're really at it. And there's this this really good book called Donut Economics. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's really beautiful because it talks a lot about, a lot of our economics is kind of like the chart like this, where I'm basically showing like a graph going upwards. It talks about like creating an economic system where it like is sustainable, where it's like a company that fulfills its mission, supports the people in it, supports its customers, and really just seeks to be a sustainable business that's supportive of the systems within it, rather than like this nonstop growth machine that like keeps going forever and ever for reasons unknown. And usually it's like the not enoughness that drives that sort of business, rather than like, let's be a really healthy, sustainable business that does everything it needs to do for the people that it serves.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought too. Not to nerd too much on the business thing, but it's like a business can be a good business, even from pure financial terms, with like no growth. If literally like, if you buy all the raw resources,
yes,
and then you build and hire a team and you pay everyone fairly and you pay the vendors for the resources, and then you put all the things together, and then you go to consumers and you say, hey, I made this cool thing. I put it all together for you. You can't do it. It's hard to do it on your own. Would you be willing to pay the premium for the fact that like we put it all together and they pay for it? Then everyone got paid, and there's some amount of profit for whoever put in the money, for the business itself. Like it works.
Yes.
Like that's actually capitalism.
Literally.
It doesn't have to be like, now we need 30,000 more customers, and then
2x
that
more
many
growth.
more, and then this many more. And then it's got like, it can be, it doesn't, you don't have to have endless growth. You can have a great,
because even
even on that, like Kion is growing. So it's not,
exactly.
I'm not trying to control, I'm not trying to like contain it so it's not, but it's like, if you don't try to make it into this thing where it has to produce this for some imaginary reason. But I think the tricky thing is that it's like, there is such a culture too of like growth above all else.
Yes.
Even like businesses growing, they don't even make any money. They raise a bunch of money to build a business. And like, I feel so blessed that like we didn't ever take on money. So there's no outside like venture capitalists or private equity people who are, we need to get paid or something like that. It's just like all these good people that help build the company together. And if you are in that situation, those people, you have to build the company fast enough so that then you can turn around and sell the company to somebody else. So it's not even about like the product or the consumers or what you're doing. It's like the idea that you're building this company to then sell the company to someone else. And so it's like, that is such an interesting, I've honestly never really got it. Like, it's just so not for me.
I know.
I'm like, that'd be so crazy to just build this thing that doesn't even like provide enough value to pay for itself. And then I got to convince someone else to buy it from me.
That's like
it's a crazy idea to me. I mean, I get it. Like that's how a lot of these businesses work.
But the thing about it is that it doesn't make sense. And if you were to look at it from like a soul perspective, you're like, oh, this is a concept within our economy and money that doesn't make sense. Like, it's like, oh, this company is evaluated at $1 billion, even though they're not making any revenue. You're like, how does that sort of economics make at all sense? Like, I remember, do you remember Bird?
Oh, was that a shoe company?
No, there's Bird Shoe, but the Bird was the
scooter
company.
company.
That was evaluated at one point at like $1 billion. And you're like, how is this? And it's like, oh, the concept and idea. And you're like, how is that?
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea is that they'll have enough users and customers, then suddenly they could sell their users and their customers to this much larger company, and then they would have value to them, which...
Sure.
I don't get it. I mean, it's weird.
I know. It's just that it is, again, the not enoughness that sort of runs, everything basically. Because you're not doing it for like the right reason. But yeah, I'm just so appreciative to work with you guys and just even know that. And I'm so grateful that a lot of the companies that we partner with are just so beautiful, because not only are the products so helpful and quality and supportive of a life that I live and the life of our community, but it's like also supportive of their customers and their clients and their employees in a way that's healthy and sustainable. It's like, yeah, it's just such a good thing to know that when you are investing, you're supporting like this beautiful business of people that are doing it for the right reasons.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. This has been so much fun. Anything else you want to say to our amazing audience? Peace and love.
Peace and love. I just emphasize again, like, breathe in, be happy.
Kind of want to bring on a special guest.
Do it.
Could we have a special guest come on?
You want to come on?
We have a very special guest who wants to say something.
Hi.
Okay, so what do you feel like is the most important thing someone can do for their health?
Be healthy.
That's a good one. I would say that's number one. I would say you said it. What do you think is the best way to support, or what do you think the purpose of life is?
To be happy and own what you have.
Love that. To be happy and
Own what you have.
own what you have. Like be yourself. What's own what you have? Tell me more.
Like not wish for more than what you already have.
Love that. I love that. And can we get an impersonation of your dad? This is an impersonation of Dad.
Hi, I am Angelo Keely. Aminos are really good for you. You should really take them. They're awesome.
That is 10 out of 10. Anything else you want to share with the audience today?
Be happy.
Be happy. You're the best. Can't wait to see you on your own pod. Okay, guys, we love you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Bye. Got to wave. Thank you so much, Angelo. Again, Kion amino acids. It is an absolute must. I have so many of them. I've been taking them for over a year now. It's helped me so much with my body, with my athletic performance, with my energy. It's incredible, and you must have it.
Truly, get kion.com/almost30 for 20% off. Thank you so much for listening to Almost 30, for supporting the show, for being the best ever. You can share this with a friend. We have over 700 episodes for you to listen to. And if you just want like a dose of Almost 30, the best of the best, you can subscribe to Morning Microdose, our Clips podcast, out 5 days a week, just to inspire you.
We love you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.